Well, as we edge closer to season 2020 today, we put GWS under the microscope for the latest of Footy on 9 season previews. I'm joined again by Nathan Brown. Brownie, a summer of soul searching for the Giants.
Yeah, it would have been. They made the grand final and their final series was unbelievable last year. You've got to give them a massive tick for that because, 3 weeks out leading into finals, you would not give them the hope. You would have thought they would have been belted first week of the finals, but to get there, they did a great job. And I just think that taste of it, what does that do to them? I think it encourages them.
We'll take a look at the guys they've lost over the summer. There are some handy names there, but it doesn't feel like they've lost that much, does it?
No, Brady Deledio, a very good mate of mine, was a great player, but didn't play much football at the Giants, let's be honest. So they're not losing a player like he was at Richmond. You got Johnny Patton going out, hasn't played a lot of football, and Tomlinson, who they dropped in the finals last year for a game as well. So in terms of players going out, they haven't lost a lot, but they do bring in Big Sauce Jacobs from Adelaide. Now, didn't have a great year last year at Adelaide. Who did? They didn't have a lot of players and he found himself out of the side. Go back to 2017. He rucked beautifully, rucked Adelaide into a grand final. So he can play football and he's going to put pressure on Shane Mumford.
Well, that was the big question mark, I guess, over GWS during the finals because it looked like Shane Mumford was really slowing down and he was getting beaten at different times.
Yeah, he gave it everything, Shane Mumford, last year. He came back out of retirement and the final series that he played, he looked, I won't say he looked underdone, but he certainly got chopped up and became a bit of a liability. Brodie Grundy dominated him in that game, although Mumford had some great moments in the last 5 minutes, but they still needed somebody else to go to rather than Shane Mumford. If Shane Mumford plays 24 games this year, I don't think GWS compete in the grand final. But if Sam Jacobs can come in and do what he does, he's a very good tap ruckman, Sam Jacobs, and can occasionally go forward out of the goal scorer and take a mark, I think it's a handy pickup.
Well, even though they've got so much star talent on their list, so many high draft picks, they still had another 2 top 10 picks here, Lachlan Ash and also Tom Green. It looks like a couple of guys who, I guess, provide that depth again for them.
Yeah, a running player off half-back, a little bit like a Jason Johannesson type of player, so some good running carry there. Whether they play or not, I'm not sure, because they are, I look through the Giants list and you look at star after star after star and you think, where are these players going to get a game? But the Giants are going to be hard to beat again.
Take a look at their midfield, and they've had some injury concerns over the past few years. Of course, they lost Tom Scully to the Hawks last year, but they've had Callum Ward, who hasn't played a whole lot of footy, and also Stephen Coniglio, who missed a big chunk leading into September.
2 super players to come back in. Stephen Coniglio, the work he was doing early in the season and back in 2018 to be able to get 30 possessions a game, and he was adding 2 and 3 goals to that. You know what you're going to get from Callum Ward. He's been injury prone, but he's going to come in, he's going to put his head over the football, and he's going to get it out to runners like Lachie Whitfield. So he's a must to have and great to have him back. Tim Taranto took his game to a next level, another level last year, averaging 28 disposals. Lachie Whitfield, I think, is the best runner in the competition. You need to tag Lachie Whitfield, but that midfield group with Toby Green going back in there a fair bit last year, it's every bit as good as the Bulldogs midfield.
Lachie Whitfield's an interesting one, isn't he? He's played across half-back, he's played at half-forward, he's played in the midfield. Where do you see his best position?
I think a combination of wing and on the footy. I like him being in tight. Now, he's not a great contested player, but what he is quick off the mark. Sometimes when you're out in the wing, yeah, you've got some space, but it's very hard for a player to get a 20-metre polyfarmer handball out to you. If he's in tight and he can use his pace, similar to what Chris Judd used to do, and burst away from the contest, that's when he becomes a really damaging player.
Seems like there's been a contract story every year with GWS, whether it be Stephen Coniglio, Josh Kelly and the like. This year it's Jeremy Cameron. How do you think he'll cope with that?
I think he'd cope all right. I still think they're a little bit out of sight, out of mind up in Sydney. If it was a Melbourne club, I think they'd be beating down the door. They'd be out the front of the footy club all the time. He's not going to get the hard questions that a Jordan De Goey or a Darcy Moore are going to get this year.
Well, Brownie, this is where we really put you to the test. Who's the most pressure on, do you think, in season 2020?
Well, I think when you bring in an elite ruckman like Big Sauce Jacobs, the pressure has to come on Shane Mumford. Now, it's obviously a process. Mumford will probably play his last season this year, but the pressure is on him to be able to stay in the team because I think Sam Jacobs will become the #1 ruckman.
Still so much young talent on that list, but who have you got improving?
I like Sam Taylor. I like the way he came in at the end of last year. He was able to control the footy. He didn't look too overawed by anything. No fuss player. Took some good marks. Used the footy well. And the other player that I'm expecting big things from is Jeremy Finlayson. Now, he kicked some goals last year. Him, Himmelberg and Jeremy Cameron. 146 goals between them last year. Massive effort. But I think Finlayson's the one that can jump out of the box and be a really good player. He's aggressive, he kicks goals and he takes big marks. I want to see Jeremy Finlayson take his game to the next level.
Well, they've got so much talent on this list, it seems like they're firmly still in the window. Is time running out for them, and where have you got them?
Premiership clock is open right now. It's not going to be open for very long. I've got them finishing third just because I think they bat so deep and they've got a great forward line, as I said. 146 goals between those three players. So for me, the Giants around that third spot.
Well, Brownie, thanks again. For more of those Footy on 9 season previews, it's wideworldofsports.com.au or 9 Now.